Thank you, Ben. It is a great honor for me to introduce the 2020-2021 District 5495 Governor Elizabeth Mahoney. She is a member and past president of the Sun City Rotary Club, where she has worn many different hats. She started the Sun City Satellite Club and served as its first chairperson. As she has grown in the Rotary District, she has been the chair of the Rotary Foundation. She was a Rotary Youth Exchange Mom and a committee member. She has been an emerging Rotary leader, committee member, and led two Interact ambassadorships to Kenya teams. She also served as chief of staff to past District Governor Nancy Van Pelt and manages several innovative special projects. Elizabeth is a natural when it comes to networking and is very helpful with helping Rotarians connect with each other, and is a star in helping Rotarians communicate with community and business leaders. These attributes help enrich the Rotary experience and adds energy to all of us. There will be many opportunities for all of us to get to know her, as she will be facilitating at many different opportunities for the rest of the year, including PETS, RLI, and CLA, whatever is left. With the COVID pandemic that has made everything more difficult and complicated, District Governor Elizabeth is making big strides to making sure that District 5495 is being all that it can be. I am very proud to be an AG serving District Governor Elizabeth and this club as we get our game on. Fellow Rotarians and guests, District Governor Elizabeth Mahoney.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful assistant governor. Lee is such a delight. And it's just an honor to be with your club. It's the second time I was actually here, if you guys remember, for the Alexis program. And so congratulations on that awesome award, well deserved. That program, the whole thing was amazing. But here today, I am here to talk to you about just what's going on in Rotary. You know, this year we have had so many tremendous changes with regards to or as a response to COVID-19. But I want to share with you kind of where we're at, and then also the impact that you guys make, and maybe you don't even know it. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Make sure everybody can see that. All right. So every district governor, no matter who you talk to, will tell you that their theme is the best theme, right? That's pretty common, right? And I am no different. The theme for this year is Rotary Opens Opportunities. And when I first heard the theme about a year ago, that was pre-COVID. And so at that time, you know, I kind of thought about it from the perspective of the good work that we do, the global grants, the way we serve communities. And what was explained was that the red door stands for Rotaract, which is our Rotarians age 18 and above, pink door maybe to you guys. The yellow door is Interact, which is our young students age, 10 to 18. And then the blue is Rotary. What I've learned over the course of this year, though, and I'll talk about this as we spend our time together today, is that as we've experienced COVID and stripped away all of the Rotary programs in essence, right, because we've had to move everything virtual, that what Rotarians have done is actually shown who they really are deep down. And I have to tell you, people have asked me many times, are you sad that you got the COVID year as district governor? And I can tell you, and I said this to your board yesterday, looking at you guys directly, absolutely not. Because what I have seen this year is a raw ability for all of us together to be people of action and to serve with no hesitation at all. And your club is an amazing example of that. So the thing that's really fun for me is to be able to get to know all of the clubs in our district and the 2,100 Rotarians, because like you, I'm a Rotarian, volunteer in the Rotary Club of Sun City, serving my community. I live in the greater Phoenix area. I work in Scottsdale, so I care about all of our communities. And when I looked up what your club has done over the past, let's even just say since COVID, but over the past year, I'm not just saying this, you guys, when Lee says you're a phenomenal club, I am so amazed. I am so amazed at how active and the wonderful work that your club does. I will tell you that what I think COVID has done for many of us is created a situation where people kind of move into paralysis, especially when we were, do you mind muting Brian's line? Thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. When we moved into COVID, people, when we were quarantined at home, I think for many of us, it was, what can we do? How can we help? We're isolated from each other. We're connected by a computer. We're not able to see each other in person. But your club didn't do that. Your club said, we're going to move into action, right? We're people of action. And so I saw that with the water project you did. I saw that with, obviously, the school, Lincoln Elementary, different work you did. And it's just really amazing. The dictionary project you guys are getting ready to work on. Okay, I'm so sorry to ask again, but can we mute Brian? We love you, Brian. We don't know what you're doing.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Can you
Thought
mute?
I was muted here.
No stress at all. Thank you. Awesome. So, and then your dictionary project on the district grants that you do is absolutely outstanding. You're celebrating 100 years in Rotary, an amazing, amazing accomplishment. And again, when I sat in your board meeting yesterday and you guys were going through every single thing you've been doing and every single thing you have coming planned, it's a club I would want to be a part of. Like, let me move to Mesa and let me be part of your club. Your total giving to the Rotary Foundation as a club is $375,000. That's amazing, you guys. That does not include, and I should clarify when it says Rotary Foundation, that does not include your projects. That's actually giving to the annual fund that comes back for the district grants and global grants. And then last year you gave $8,874 to the annual fund. And so just thank you for your generosity and everything that you're doing. So I want to share with you a couple stories of things that you wouldn't know about in how you've helped with your generosity. And these are things you guys have to understand. These are not my stories. These are actually your stories. You just don't know about them yet. Some of you might have heard little tidbits, but I want to share with you what actually happened. So the first year that I took the ambassador team to Kenya, and I should clarify for you guys, I did not volunteer for that trip. That was something where I got a call one day and from our youth services chair, and they said, Elizabeth, our chaperone dropped out. Would you be willing to escort these high schoolers age 15 to 18 to Kenya in about 8 weeks? We know that you haven't met any of the students, and we know that you've never been to Kenya. And we also know you're going to be the only adult chaperone by yourself traveling, but would you be willing to go? And I said, yeah, I will do that, because in Rotary, what I've learned over the years is I want to say yes to the things that pop up, because I think that they're opportunities. Like we talk about, Rotary opens opportunities that I will never have in my life. And so I said yes. So I should back up a little bit. Our 100 Interact clubs in the Valley, it looks like my internet's getting a little weird. So hold on. I'm gonna turn off my camera for a second, only because I don't want to have an internet issue. Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. That's good.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm gonna do that for a second, and then I'll put it back on if there's issues. So when we get to Kenya, we're driving about 4 hours to distribute the mobility devices, which are walkers, wheelchairs, crutches. You guys have heard the story. And our Interact clubs, there's 100 clubs in Arizona. The high schoolers collect those used devices from Arizona. I know that you guys have participated in that project, and I also know that Ken Kelly spoke to you about that project, and you've heard from the interactors. So when we get there, we're driving to the middle of nowhere, essentially. And I don't know if you saw the picture that I had up there the first time, but it was a woman who had been on the ground for 40 years. And basically when we got there, she was crawling with her hands in the flip-flops, flip-flops on her hands, getting around, because she had contracted polio at the age of 4, and she had never been off the ground. because she did not have any mobility devices. She did not have a wheelchair. She did not have the means. But that's not the story. The story is that when we got there, we were actually there to help someone else. And our high schoolers, your high schoolers, basically looked at me with tears in their eyes and they said, we can't leave her here like this. Well, we had a wheelchair in our van that was about 5 miles away that was a spare for the kids to sit in because we didn't have enough seating in the van. And the high schoolers walked back 5 miles and then they came back to give her the wheelchair. And I'm gonna try to share my screen one more time so you guys can see it. If we have issues, I'll turn it back off. So this is them, you guys, walking back. And this is students that actually attended in Gilbert. Lorelei was in the East Valley. Hazel is up in Snowflake, and then Dylan is in Mojave. But this was their choice. And just like Student of the Month today, you know, we think, oh, how sweet, how awesome for that student to be recognized, that young man today. What we don't realize and see, though, is the lasting impact that that will make on him forever. And it will, because he was called out and recognized. With these students, the lasting impact for them to be able to change that woman's life in a moment. And I will tell you, both Hazel and Lorelei came back from that trip and changed their majors to Hazel studying pandemic science, and Lorelei went into social work. So then on the next screen, you can see when we brought the chair back, what was actually absolutely incredible is that the woman knew exactly what to do. She lifted herself up into the chair and she drove off into the sunset. Like, I don't think I've ever seen someone travel so fast, which was so just unbelievable to see. But we talk about Rotary opening opportunities. You opened opportunities for that woman. When you guys were sleeping here in Arizona, what you didn't know is that 12 hours away on the other side of the world, you granted a woman mobility and freedom for the first time in her life because of participating in the Crutches for Africa project. You also didn't realize or know at that moment that you changed 5 high schoolers' life forever, and that they're going on to serve humanity in a global way and affect global change because of what Rotary provided. Now, I know you guys may say, well, we didn't have a direct impact on that. That wasn't our project. But you guys, every single one of us has a small part in what we do in Rotary. And you have part in every project that happens worldwide. And I want to share one more with you. So the next year, I actually went by choice because I had such an incredible experience. And so I took the group of high schoolers the next year. And while I was there, the Rotary Club president, his name is Edward, the Rotary Club president got a phone call, and that his face immediately changed, that he had like a look of terror. And he hung up and he said, Elizabeth, there's water in Naroq. Now, I didn't know what that meant, just like you guys don't know what that meant. And I looked at him and I said, okay. He said, no, you don't understand. We've been working on this project for 10 years. And we didn't bring them clean water. We're not talking about they had water and we're bringing them better water. They've had no water. The women have been walking 12 miles a day to get the water every day. And oh, by the way, we're in a severe drought and they haven't even been able to get it every time they've gone. And I said, okay. He said, do you want to see the water? I said, of course I want to see the water. Of course, I'd love to see this. So we drove out to Masai Land, which is kind of an agriculture part in Kenya. And as we get there, I see a water tower off in the distance and we're walking. And I said, so tell me about this project. Did you work on it with World Vision, or, you know, who was your partner? And he said, no, it's a Rotary Global Grant. He said, we actually worked with clubs. And he's like, I'm not sure. It's been so long. He said they were in Prescott and Phoenix and the greater area around there. And I realized in that moment, you guys, that it was our project. All of us on this call, it was our project. And what happened was our part of the global grant was that we put in the infrastructure, we put in the groundwork, the piping for it, and we did our part, but they went on to find the water in the ground. And so I'm going to share the screen again because I want you guys to see. This was the water flowing for the first time. Because of your dollar gift to the Rotary Foundation, because of your gift to the annual fund, whether individually or as a club, and you guys, this is so sincere, that about a year ago, when you guys were home sleeping, you brought water to 5,000 people for the first time. You brought water to orphanages, schools, and a community, and women who now can be empowered to go to school, work, because they're not having to go get the water. You guys did this. And I'm not just saying that. That is the beauty and what we do in Rotary. We create opportunities for people that we don't even know that we're creating. We don't even get to see the faces of who we're touching, but we step out by making these gifts and making these actions and efforts, like how you guys just did the polio fundraiser. That is amazing. And we'll never know the legacy and the lives that that touches, but I know by you guys doing that, you saved lives instantly by doing that small fundraiser and act of kindness that turned into a very big fundraiser. So let's talk about what's happening this year. So with COVID and where we are, it's given us an opportunity to really do an honest evaluation of our clubs. I think that for all of us, and you guys are doing that by lowering the dues temporarily, you know, looking at what your club can be doing in the community. I heard yesterday you guys are looking to, you know, can we still do lights, Christmas lights for the crisis center? Can we still do these projects that we want to do? How can we do them? How can we engage our members? How can we make sure that everybody's okay? That's the focus of this year, is how can we best support each other going through this pandemic? I will tell you, our district is excellent. We're #1 in global grant participation. We gave out over $95,000 in district grant money. We are so active, but I will tell you the area that we need to work on. We are the lowest in our zone out of 37 districts in retention. If you look at our Rotary members for the past 3 to 5 years, we had 2,200 members and we have 2,200 today. About 2,170. That sounds awesome, right? But when you look at the data, we actually lost 1,100 members and we gained 1,100 back. Not the same members, 1,100 new members. So what I would suggest for us to work on over the next year is not focusing on membership drive and figuring out how to bring in new people. They're going to come in automatically. But what I would suggest is we need to focus on how can we take care of each other? How can we make sure that we all joined Rotary because we wanted to have a connection with each other and an experience, but how can we make sure that our members are okay, especially going through this pandemic? If we haven't seen people in a while, have we called them? Have we sent them a card? Do we know everybody's going through different things in their lives right now? Have we really taken time to connect on a deeper level with fellowship? And I know your club has, but your club is also, and every club, you guys, is in the same issue. If you look at your membership 5 years ago to now, right? And so it's just us figuring out how we can connect with each other better, be a team. So that would be the thing I would want you to focus on. The one thing Rotary is focusing on is how we're working on a 5-year strategic plan. And essentially that 5-year strategic plan is how can we stay relevant? Right? It's a world that's changing quickly. We're having to move to more technology-based things. This is Rotary's action plan. Clearly, our #1 goal is ending polio, eradicating polio. That will always remain the #1 goal. We've made a promise to the world, and as Rotarians in our 4-way test, we honor all of our promises, right? We will never give up before we finish that. So that we have to keep in front. But the other thing we're looking at, and you can see, is retention, is really focusing on engaging our existing members, but also our ability to adapt. And the fact that we're all on Zoom shows that we have the ability to adapt and figure out new ways to do things during this pandemic. But that's our strategic plan. So what I want to share with you is, what are we doing this year in Rotary? We have, as you know, moved many of our programs virtual. I'm not just giving our pat on the back to our district, but you guys, last night I had a call with my classmates. We are the only district out of 50 that actually put on a virtual RILA. So we didn't say, oh, we're canceling RILA. We said, our youth needs these skills more than ever. How can we bring it to them? We can't do the same thing, but how can we bring it to them in the next best way? And so we had our first virtual RILA in October. We had 65 delegates on that. We have another one scheduled for January. Here's the thing I want to share with all of you. It's not, you guys, there's no cost. There's no limitation. So if you've ever wanted your high school students to get involved, we can have unlimited students in virtual RILA. It's such an incredible opportunity. If they attend virtual RILA, it does not take away their ability to attend RILA in person after the pandemic's over. So it's just a good thing to be thinking about. We are still planning on having our USA-Mexico Friendship Exchange in February. We are still planning in person, but I will tell you with the spike in COVID most recently, obviously that's of course in the air, but I'll keep you updated. Our interactors are planning on going to Mexico and Kenya this coming summer for the Crutches for Africa program. Again, that will be based on where we are with COVID-19. Rotary Youth Exchange was on hold this year. It will be back next year with parameters and maybe shortened exchange, but we're looking to try to bring that back. And this is what I'm most excited about. So I take off the screen so we can see each other. So the district conference typically reaches about 200 people out of our 2,100 that I've mentioned. And that's wonderful, but we spend a lot of money to do this conference and it doesn't engage all the Rotarians. So when I looked at it for this year, I looked at the hard decision. I said, why are we going to spend all this money for 100 of us to get together, have to be socially distanced, have to wear masks? It's just not going to be the same experience. And so we decided to actually cancel the district conference, but do something instead. And this is what I'm so excited about. So we have always had a Rotarians at Work Day, which is the last Saturday in April. But our district, for whatever reason, we've never done it. We've never honored it. They've done it around the world. So we are going to celebrate it this year and do Rotarians at Work Week. So from April 17th through the 23rd, all 70 of our Rotary clubs, all of our Rotaract clubs, and all 100 of our Interact clubs in Arizona, in our district, will be doing community service projects simultaneously, and we are going to show Arizona what Rotary really is and be able to do whatever project that is, that is best for your club. You guys are going to pick it, but basically what we're doing is we're going to go out and fundraise between now and January to be able to put funding out to the clubs so that you guys can pick something and then we can do this all together. And I have to tell you, as much as I love district conferences, I think this is a way better thing to do together. I think at the end of the year, we're all going to be able to look back and go, oh my gosh, look at the amazing work that Rotary did during COVID, during a pandemic. Nothing stopped us. And I'm just excited for that. But what I want to leave you guys with is this. You have such a dynamic club. And I'm not just, again, I don't say that on every call. You have such a dynamic and wonderful club. And as a fellow Rotarian, it is such an honor to be in this with you. It is such an honor to be able to see the great work you do. But I want you to remember that you do much more than what you see. And what my job is to try to get those faces in front of you and help you see how you're opening opportunities every day through the work you do in the foundation, through the work you do with partnering in other clubs. And it's just wonderful to be part of this with you. So yes, we are having a weird year with COVID-19, but I can tell you that if I looked at what your club has done, I wouldn't even know that you were in a pandemic other than we're on Zoom. So I can't wait to see you all in person, hopefully before the end of the year. But if not, I'll see you as a past district governor in person. It'll be our first virtual year together. But anyway, does anybody have any questions on anything that I've talked about?
Give them a chance. I think their minds and their gears are turning. I think we should ask some of our newest members of the club if they might have any.
Absolutely.
I have a question.
Lori, yeah.
I just joined in maybe like the last 2 months. So everything about Rotary and is new. As you can see from the chat box, I ask all the questions. But it also means I'm eager and I'm interested to learn and see how I can be plugged in. And so my question is, it seems like there are a lot of service projects and efforts that are done out of the country.
Mhm.
And I'm curious, has COVID brought an opportunity to do some refocusing back into the States, into more local work where we can control maybe some of that environment a little bit more? Is there anything on a district larger level that is pointing in that direction?
Well, I can share just from my perspective of the district, and I think that Ben referred to this and Lee earlier. So I actually served as our district foundation chair for all clubs. And I did that over about a 5-year period prior to becoming governor, where I got to work on all the community, like local Arizona projects with all the clubs, as well as the global projects. And I can tell you that I really believe our district does an excellent job of bringing projects home. I think we're probably about a 50-50 in our district. So a great example is during COVID-19, we got a $25,000 disaster relief grant for the Navajo Nation. And we applied for that. We did that on our own to be able to give them resources to water and actually like the PPE equipment, the equipment during COVID, all of that. The other thing is I'm still trying to do the math, but our clubs, I think you guys raised, I'm not even kidding, like $250,000 for local food banks during COVID-19. I mean, our clubs like went into action. Domestic violence shelters, our clubs are working in very, very strong efforts there, and obviously working with schools. We've provided a ton of laptops to schools all over Arizona and the Valley for sure. So Lori, it's a great question. Where you tend to hear about the international side is because the power of the Rotary Foundation is the match on international projects. And so you'll tend to hear, and those projects are $100,000 to $300,000 big projects. But I want to mention two quickly before we end that we're here. One is, you guys know, of course, about the Navajo Water Project that we've been doing over the past 3 years. So that is what we call a local global grant. But the other, even though it's a while ago, do you guys remember when we had the horrific fires in Yarnell? We did about a $250,000 global grant here that rebuilt the entire water system and structure in Yarnell. So I think what we just are working on is trying to let the clubs know what all the other clubs are doing, because the community, we really are doing a lot with community focus in our district for sure. So thank you for that question, but it's about 50-50, I would say. Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
I have a comment, Elizabeth. I've been in the club since 1980, and I started out at 30 years of age. I can't tell your age, but you're not the normal age that I've been hanging around with these last 40 years. So I want to congratulate you on joining Rotary and moving up and actually influencing. I've heard at least 40 different meetings from governors, and they're all enthusiastic. But this is the first time I heard the output of the work that we do, the fresh water, the people involved. That actually shows what Rotary does, as opposed to we've just raised money for people around the world. The way you tell the story will bring new members in, and it'll ignite people like me to encourage others to join, because without you coming in, we were headed for whatever that word is that nobody cares about. So thank you for being our governor and leading us and pioneering the way.
I can't thank you enough for that comment. Your board will tell you that I actually got a little emotional yesterday at the end. I don't know if you guys could tell on Zoom, I was like holding back tears, but the reason is being governor is the most incredible position, because you actually get to see the great work that all the clubs do. I mean, we hear about it, but I'm talking, can you imagine what your club does times 70? That's the power of Rotary just in Arizona. that's just our little district, you know? And so, John, what I'm trying to do is definitely get those stories out. The other one, and I know that, you know, we're short on time, but you guys don't know this, but Ben does. So I started Rotary. I will share my age. Well, I'm not sharing my current age. I'll tell you when I started. I started Rotary at 29. And I was invited because I was on many boards, and I was looking for a way to be more effective in the community with my time, because I literally was spending all my time in board meetings. And what I realized was Rotary was the most effective way to give back. But I never, ever once considered what Rotary would do for me. I really joined because I wanted to participate in community. My son was born with a bilateral cleft lip and palate. And so when he was born, he literally was missing all of this portion of his upper face. His palate was gone. And so for that, he was shy, you know, throughout elementary and junior high. And my club came to me and said, Elizabeth, you don't know what RILA is. It's a leadership camp for kids, but Caleb really should go. And I was like, no, I don't want to take anything for Rotary. I don't want to take a spot from someone else. And they were like, that is the most stupid thing I've ever heard. Your son is exactly who should be going to RILA. I am telling you guys, when he came back after 2 days, he was an entirely different child. He had confidence. He began public speaking. He then went on to youth exchange and went to Italy for a year. So I had that program. He joined Interact and became a leader. So I had that program. He then joined Rotaract in college at ASU. I had that program. And then he went on to join Rotary. And so when you see my genuine passion, John, it's because I have seen the impact external, but I've also seen it in my own family. And I'm just so blessed by what Rotary offers. So thank you guys all for being part of that. Any other thoughts or questions today? Okay, so can I leave you with this? You guys are one of the best clubs in the district. I'm expecting you to pick an amazing project in April. Let me be part of it. So you guys brainstorm now, be thinking about, the reason I'm mentioning it now, because it gives you 6 months to plan, right? And so really be thinking if you want to partner with the schools you're already serving, or you want to partner in a new way with a nonprofit, whatever that is, and then let me know how I can best support us to do that. So I'll definitely see you guys in April for that.